Which conspiracy theory is so believable that it might be true? That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising. Most glaring instance where this happened to me was when I walked into a colleague's office. He had just gotten a standing desk, but one that goes on top of his existing desk rather than a standalone model. That's important to note. I said, nice standing desk. When did you get that? Thanks. Just today, he replied. That was literally all that was said about the desk. We talked about work-related stuff, and as I walked out and checked my phone, there was an ad on Facebook for that exact model of standing desk. I have never owned one, wanted one, or googled one before, yet there it was on my feed. Tinfoil hat be damned. They listen in. I've had this happen to me twice in the last month. Things I talked about with my daughter, one being hard-boiled eggs, showed up on my feed hours later. There it was, an ad for a hard-boiled egg cooker. Never googled anything about hard-boiled eggs. Weird AF. I can't remember the first one. When I said something to my daughter about it after the first time, she called me crazy. When I showed her the egg thing, she said, well damn, you might be right. This isn't even a conspiracy theory. Stay on top of your app permissions, especially for Google services and apps. Background stuff especially. That Natcha giant was murdered by the Catholic Church for exposing a pedophile ring. This is trending on our conspiracy and are out off the loop right now. Credit to you update for the summary. Natcha Jate, a model TV journalist, exposed a pedophile ring on live Argentinian TV a few months ago, after following cases over the last few years. She had claimed that she would not commit suicide in April of 2018 while investigating these rings, but was found on the 23rd of February, 2019 to be dead from suicide. Another journalist she had accused of pedophilia on the airing, Luis Ventura, had uploaded an image of her dead body shortly after she killed herself on Twitter, and then promptly deleted it afterwards. To quote you, happy cake day one, she supposedly died from a cocaine overdose, heart failure, stroke. She had said that if she wound up dead, the people she had accused of rape, she was on trial, and it was powerful people, would be guilty. I won't kill myself. I won't overdose and drown in a bathtub. I won't shoot myself. Full credit to you. The next village for this one. The arms on Tyrannosaurus Rex skeletons are backwards. They ought to be rotated 180 degrees. What good are these stubby little arms for? We have found out relatively recently that T-Rex have feathers. It is now an established fact. T-Rex were not covered in scales but in feathers, like a bird. Take the arms on a T-Rex and flip them around 180 degrees. Now you have wings like an ostrich. Here is an illustration of an ostrich skeleton. See the small arms, wings. Now look at a Tyrannosaurus. We used to think of almost all dinosaurs as lizard-like. In fact, the name means terrible lizard. Now we know that many different animals that we think of as dinosaurs are more bird-like than lizard-like. XKCD comic below illustrates this nicely. Tyrannosaurus Rex had wings. Not big wings to fly with, but wings that were perhaps something like that of an ostrich, cassowary, or emu, although likely much smaller in proportion to their body. Ostriches use their wings in mating rituals, to make themselves appear larger, and to signal and communicate. Perhaps T-Rex used theirs for some similar purpose. They did not have useless stubby little arms. My conspiracy theory. Facebook purposely attempts to ruin people's relationships because the drama gets more views and more views sell more ads. Several years ago they introduced a feature so that your comments on other pages would show up in your friends' feeds. So if you're secretly an atheist and you comment on some atheist page, it shows up in your devout Southern Baptist grandma Muriel's timeline, even though it's a conversation that has nothing to do with her and there's no reason for it to be. As a result, Facebook outs you to your family, and grandma is typing away at all the evil Satanists trying to corrupt her grandson. And if you comment on a public post, it's unavoidable. You used to be able to control who could see your comments even on public posts by other pages, but at the same time Facebook introduced their tattletale feature. They took that ability away. Now if they were to stumble across the same page they'd be able to see your comment. But after that change, Facebook started pointing everybody you know directly to it. Not to mention, the privacy settings are difficult to find, difficult to understand, and with each passing year gives you less and less control over who sees what. By forcibly combining everybody's social circles, Facebook is trying to generate conflict. They want to generate conflict because the conflict happens on Facebook, which means people logging onto Facebook more often and seeing more ads. They are essentially an internet tabloid, except instead of showcasing the personal drama of celebrities for clicks and sales, they are doing it to you instead. Ever notice how the vast majority of family drama, relationship fights, etc. these days happens on Facebook? That's by design. Facebook is literally destroying the social fabric to make a buck, consuming relationship stability like it's an oil refinery consuming crude. That's why you hide your real opinions on FB and share them on Reddit instead. Dyson purposefully made the cable shorter over time just before announcing the cordless version. My DC01 has a 12-meter flex, my DC14 has a 6.5 meters flex. They purposefully made the flex shorter to be an inconvenience and make people want the cordless version. Miley Cyrus's crazy streak was all a carefully planned marketing scheme to get her solidified as an A-list celebrity. I believe it was done to make Disney completely cut ties with her and kill the image of Hannah Montana. It's worked too. Hannah Montana was quite possibly Disney's largest TV show ever, but I haven't seen anyone even mention it for over 4 years now. And despite Disney cashing in on old IPs, Aladdin, Kim Possible, Lion King, etc., we have yet to even hear an unsubstantiated rumor regarding Hannah Montana. The Vatican holds horrible dark secrets and many answers to existential questions. And that Area 51 is a publicity stunt by the government to hide the real testing facility. I believe that Area 51 has some stuff that they wouldn't want getting out, but I think it's all pretty normal and the general public wouldn't find too shocking. It's definitely hyped up though to distract us from some other base where the real weird bit goes down. Long John Silver's is some kind of money laundering scheme on the basis that they have been open for as long as I can remember, but I have also literally never seen a busy Long John's. Toxic delusion that I ironically entertain? Perhaps. You clearly didn't grow up in a white trash family. LJS is a poor man's Red Lobster. We would eat fast food almost every night when I was growing up, and maybe once a month get LJS. It was a treat. Bro, those hush puppies were bomb. The president of the Philippines, Duterte, is very anti-drugs to hide his own involvements with drug cartels off which he makes billions. Funny enough, he once told supporters that, if his own children were found to be dealing in drugs, they should be executed. Not long after, one of his children was found to be involved with a big shipment of cocaine, if I recall correctly. Still alive. I may be shaky on some of the details here, but I remember reading this on Duterte's Wikipedia page. I'm at work. We'll find the source later if anyone is interested. Edit. Thanks to everyone who has posted sources in the comments. I got some of the details wrong. Meth, not coke, etc. But the gist is accurate. Also, Duterte had a past drug issue with fentanyl, that nobody really knows if he's clean from, and apparently smokes weed. That the CIA post this question every time so they know what the general public suspect. Redacted. Edit. Remove. Edit 2. Not the CIA. The Laurel Canyon Conspiracy. Basically, if you look at the counterculture revolutionaries in the music industry in the 60s, most of them were the children of military intelligence people. So the theory is that the free love, lots of drugs movement they inspired was done intentionally to distract the youth from a full-scale revolution. The thought was if the angry youth of the mid to late 60s were too high and getting laid all the time, they would stop caring as much about societal ills and then basically sleepwalk through the 70s. Which they did. I stumbled upon this when I was reading up on Jim Morrison and how his father was the one who called in the fake strike at the Gulf of Tonkin that kicked off the Vietnam War, and which was shown later to have been a false flag. Turns out, a lot of his contemporaries were also children of highly placed military people with ties to intelligence. Strange that they all wound up in Laurel Canyon as part of the same movement. Wow. Blew my mind too. I just assumed it was bullshit until I started looking up all of these famous musicians of the era and seeing their parents were mostly military intelligence. Too much ducking coincidence that their kids would all get into music, let alone all gravitate to the same canyon in Cali.